Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Auto Transport Intel. Mic check 1, 2, 3. This is DOT Compliance. It is Wednesday. It is noon Central Time. That means it is time to take your live questions. We've got Brian Riker, your DOT guy, and he wants to help. So if you've got DOT, FMCSA, IRP, IFTA questions, this is your chance. 30 minutes live, put it on the clock, get ready to go. Go ahead and do us a favor. After you leave a like, thank you so much. Click that share button, then the copy button, grab the YouTube link, text it, email it, share it on social media, throw a lifeline to a friend. Somebody isn't following the rules. We're going to be talking about that today. Maybe should have asked a question live on DOT Compliance on a Wednesday before that fine racked up. So, and it's not a fun show, but we try to keep it light because we know what it's like to be in the quicksand. So, we're here to help. Also, go to autotransportintel.com, click on sign up, become an ATI insider, get on the email blast, talk to Ty, get oriented, acclimated, and then you're ready to go. All right, cool. It is almost 2 after, and I want to say hello to the live chat. What's up, live chat? We got David in here. Two Bears Transportation. Let the stumping begin. Okay, well, we're going to give that a shot. You have an opportunity to try and stump Brian, so let's see if you can do it. Cars on the Move is here. What's up, Ty? Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Carlos Braxton is here. Hello, everyone. ACB Logistics. So, Carlos, how's everything going? Keep us posted. Give us an update. Carlos was on the roundtable last night. We had a great roundtable last night. It was very interesting. It's always interesting. It's great to talk to folks, see what's going on. Invariably, every roundtable, somebody gets left with the short chair with a really short leg that kind of bumps and stuff. That chair is in the roundtable. This is auto transport. So, all right, here we go. Let's check in with Brian. Brian, can you see me and hear me okay?
Yes, I can, Jay. Good afternoon. Welcome back.
All right, yeah, exactly. I've been away. So it's only been, we only had 1 week off, but it feels like a month.
Yes.
The audience is like, no, it doesn't. What have you been up to?
Keeping busy. Last week I was in Northern California with a manufacturer and just really busy. Trade shows season is kicking off. It's in full swing now, so I'll have a couple live appearances this year and just really enjoying that we're getting back to some semblance of normal.
I think I've pretty much already blocked most of it out. I was kind of doing that. I was in like pre-blockage most of this year. Like, I'd hear COVID, I'd wear a mask, and I'm like, man, my day's coming. I'm going to get my world back.
Well, fortunately for me, other than not having the live events, my world didn't change that much. I still hit 44 or 48 states, was able to do customer visits and be on the road legally because, after all, transportation is an essential service. So we got to go out and take care of our customers' needs.
And it's actually it's because it's still a real issue. I don't know. I don't want to get anywhere weird
No.
with that. But my point is that, and I went over to the live chat again, we don't hear a lot of boots on the ground carrier stories. Like, I honestly do not know what's going on for the average carrier right now with regards to COVID. There must be some regulations at some of your vendors, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Depending on what part of the industry you're in, the mask mandate is still in full swing at a lot, especially food service warehouses, stuff like that. Some dealerships, depending upon what their state or local laws are, may want you to comply if you're coming into their showroom. So we are still affected. And even some of the truck stops and fuel stops and restaurants still have some restriction in some parts of the country.
And I know that, but on that note, I mean, it's like we're in the middle of like updates regularly now. In that, like the show I just went to, I talked to somebody a month ago and I said, I'm not wearing a mask. And I thought it would be funny. They were like, oh, well, if you talk to us, you're wearing a mask. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's okay. No problem. But Guess what? We got to the show. They weren't wearing a mask because it's changing that fast.
Yes, it is. Vegas was almost back to normal, so it was good.
Except for at our conference, we did have a table set up. There were people with gloves and wire cutters and, wow. And I know Ty was loving that. Anyways, all right, we'll get off that topic. We got plenty of news to cover. And I think I saw, let's see, Victory Lap. Devin is here. What's going on? Travis Vistaga, what's happening, man? Chris Chamberlain is here. Thank you. That was a cool show last night. It was great to catch up with the group. I love that. Names with faces, etc. All right, so Devin says, hey, Brian, first question. Can I put my company name and DOT number plus MC number on the side of the truck bed or rear doors?
Yes, as long as it's somewhere on the power unit. So your truck, it doesn't have a specific spot it needs to be. And for the hotshot guys, a lot of them put it on the rear window or the rear doors. RV transporters will make a little drop-in sign that drops in the stake pockets in their pickup bed. That is all legitimate. It just has to be on the truck, not the trailer.
Vistaga asks, at what point does steam editing from a vehicle become illegal? Just went across 3 states looking like a steam locomotive. So one stopped me, but I went through 35 gallons of water.
I don't think steam by itself is a problem unless you're creating a hazard to the other traffic on the road. If you're steaming enough that they can't see around you and can't drive safely around you, then they could say you're obstructing the flow of traffic or something like that. But steam, as long as it's not actual oil or anything like that that's burning off, steam is not a DOT violation in and of itself, provided it doesn't obstruct your lights and doesn't create a hazard for the other motorists on the road. So you probably got stopped because they weren't sure what was going on with your truck. But if you want to put water in and run it and boil it out your tailpipe, go for it, as long as you're not creating a hazard for the people around you.
Sounds like a good t-shirt. Devin asks, what's your opinion on a G-Shock absorber on a gooseneck 14K?
They're more for when you're moving recreational vehicles, because RVs, shippers are very worried about shock load damage to the trailer, since they are basically just glued together plywood boxes. It'll make your ride a little bit nicer for you, but it's not a must-have for a gooseneck hauling cars. That said, I really strongly advise against a gooseneck trailer with a traditional ball mount in the bed for hauling cars, and think that the fifth wheel kingpin setup is a much more stable setup on the front of your trailer. But if a gooseneck is what you have, that's fine. Just make sure you don't have the articulating hitch that rocks from side to side when you're in there, because that can help contribute with a high center of gravity on your car hauler to laying you over on your side. Make sure you have a fixed if you do go to a fifth wheel is what I'm talking about, you have a fixed hitch. But the shock absorber, it'll make you ride a little bit nicer, but it's not a must-have.
Looks like Travis is in the shop now with getting the steam looked at, so that's interesting too. Here's what we're gonna do. We are going to go to some visuals here. Oh, we've got the visual aid happening now. Okay, so number one, we just have to mention, we bet you can't stump Brian. We're not saying don't try, but we are saying you may be stuck on a log for a while. We have How We Doin. We talked about this last night. How We Doin. Now, How We Doin is really an effort to shine a light on proper load weight distribution of the trailer to avoid such fancy segments as Flip of the Week. So this is before Flip of the Week, How We Doin. And this comes in from, I think this was from Travis. How we doing, Brian?
Oh, boy. That looks like another caravan heading south of the border. I'm not quite sure what the weight of the machine is up on the first truck with the single axle. He may be close to weight. I love the other one hanging out or full mount on the frame of the tandem axle truck in the back. Together, there's nothing illegal about either one of those mounts. In fact, I can see he even has mud flaps on the end of the white truck. For those of you following along on the podcast, we have two what appears to be medium duty truck chassis, and one has a backhoe mounted on the top of it, and the other one has a little cab over like a Zuzu box truck mounted full mount on the back. For DOT purposes, that's perfectly legitimate to have the one truck mounted directly to the frame of the other. They call that a full mount in drive-away, tow-away. Having the backhoe loaded in there, that throws a little bit of a wrinkle in there, because when you're trying to use the drive-away, tow-away exemption, you can't have anything but on-highway motor vehicles or incomplete on-highway motor vehicles. So the backhoe's a no-no. This is a legal combination going down the road, even though it looks ugly. And I just can't, obviously from the picture from a distance, we can't tell if they actually have a DOT number displayed on that truck or real registration, dealer plates, transporter plates, but it's not, at first glance, it's ugly, but it's not really as bad as, say, the three cars chained together with tow bars that are just hooked to the front bumper of the other car with a chain wrapped around it and tied off. So it's ugly, but it's not awful.
It seems like it's probably not their first rodeo. Somebody knows something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, outside of having the backhoe in that load probably could be DOT legal.
There's another angle in case we didn't get it. And that's interesting, too, like, right, it looks like they're pretty remote, so it's not like they're downtown DC. No,
but I don't know what the auction is they came out of with all that, but yeah, that's a typical combination you'll see from the drive-away guys. It's not 100%, but it's not as bad as it looks.
And then we've got here, I guess, yeah, maybe is there a heavy equipment auction nearby? Because you're right, same thing. Is that a full mount?
That would not be a full mount. A full mount would be that dump truck sitting on top of the box truck. So that's just a flat tow, depending upon the rating of the tow bar again and how the hitch is attached. And if they have working brakes on the vehicle in tow, that may actually be a legal combination. It's not any different than the picture we've seen floating around with the guy who built the tow bar with the kingpin on it that slams into the hitch on his Stinger car hauler to allow him to flat tow his other car hauler behind him. If the hitch is designed and rated for the weight you're towing, and you got working brakes on it, and you have a DOT number and proper license plates and permits or whatever you need for the state you're in, there's nothing wrong with it.
Cool.
It just looks ugly.
Well, many things do. How about this one? No idling. I know that, this is probably old news, but somebody sent me this, and I just don't get it. Help me out. How we doing?
This is to help the environment. They don't want the trucks to idle and emit unnecessary tailpipe emissions. Now, what they deem unnecessary and what we may deem unnecessary as drivers are two different things, because I need to idle my truck for my own health, well-being, and comfort to run heat and or air conditioning. Now, New York and New Jersey, especially New York, enforces this very diligently. In fact, they have a hotline where the average citizen can call in and say, hey, I saw a truck idling, and they'll get a bounty for the ticket that gets cited to that truck driver if the cop can get over there and catch him idling. Pennsylvania has a no idling law with very similar parameters, no more than 3 minutes. The Pennsylvania has some weather exemptions. Most states in the country have this no idling. Idling does waste fuel on these modern engines with the diesel particulate filter. Idling is the bane of their existence. That's what leads to your filter getting plugged up because the engine doesn't get hot enough to burn the downstream ash out of the filter. But that right there, that's a typical warning. And the facilities are required to post these signs so that they're in compliance with the no idle law. Otherwise, if the sign's not up, not only can the trucker get a citation, but so can the facility that he's idling at. So that's all there is to that. There have been no idle laws in place for better part of a decade now.
Just dial 917 Karen, and we will come arrest everybody. Study shows truckers find truck parking information systems useful.
Yes, they can be useful. I'm not an over-the-road guy. I don't park in rest areas, so I haven't had a need to use them, but I understand the concept. Anything that gives us a heads up to information on what is up ahead to help us adjust our plan is a good thing, because that's the one thing. We can plan all we want, but things happen. Just the other day, Monday, I was going to Detroit, Michigan from Pennsylvania, and about 3 miles from the exit to get off exit 71 on the Ohio Turnpike to turn and go north, there was a tractor-trailer accident that I was unaware of. Had I been aware of it a mile before I stumbled upon it, I would have got off, went around, and been in Detroit and had dinner at 5 o'clock and been comfortable. Instead, I spent 2 hours sitting stopped on the side of the Ohio Turnpike so they could get a lane open and I could get through. So advanced information is a good thing. So I like these parking systems.
Yeah, I totally agree. Any information's good information. Those digital signs, I know they're all watching and listening to me anyways all the time, right? And somebody just heard that right now and took a note. But that's the thing, is that I hate it when there's like construction out of nowhere. Like somebody knew you were going to do this. Can you put up a sign?
Sure. And I would love to see a little more interaction with even our mapping systems, because a lot of drivers run with their GPS on. And again, with my passion for roadside worker safety, with my connection to the towing industry, there's an alert system out there that can tell you that there's a tow truck ahead on the shoulder or a stalled vehicle ahead. I would love to see more of that information. I'd even love to see some things incorporated about traffic delays ahead, and for truckers on the truck specific GPS where there is or is not parking. I would like to even see some easy information without opening each individual truck stop's website or app about the number of parking spaces that are available at a specific truck stop and the trending that's available, so that every day that spot fills up at 4 p.m. You need to be there early or find somewhere else to go, because maybe you don't run that part of the country. I took a road trip to Northern California. I get out there maybe once every 3 or 4 years. I was completely out of my element up in the Pacific Northwest on what is where. So I like this. I would like to see a little more money spent on actual pavement for parking spaces on the ground. But until they get the money for that, this is a cost-effective way to better manage what we have for parking spots.
Right. They need another category like crappy chuck hole parking spots. 50. Okay. Let's see. We got more here. Operation Safe Driver Week. July 11th through 17th. Focus on speeding.
Sure. This is part of the CVS North America truck safety campaign they do. We had Road Check, where they were focusing on driver paperwork and, as always, brake adjustment and stuff. Well, this one coming up in July is going to focus on speeding and other aggressive driving behaviors. Now, what's unique about this Operation Safe Driver is it doesn't just target commercial vehicles. In most states, your motor carrier enforcement officers are full-blooded law enforcement officers that can and do stop non-commercial vehicles as well. But on this event, they focus on speeding and unsafe behaviors by and around commercial vehicles. So they will target and pull over cars that are interacting stupidly with trucks, as well as truck drivers that are speeding. Now, from the truck driver perspective, you have to be aware that they can use this as a reason to pull you over, even if they don't write you a speeding citation. They'll notate on the inspection report the reason you were pulled over is violation of local laws, speed, and then they use that to do an inspection. So it's a way around inspecting you in the probable cause states, the states that don't have rest areas and port of entries open all the time, or have only weigh facilities and not inspection facilities. This is a way around that. Your commercial vehicle officers will really be looking for a mile over, might get you pulled over during this road check safe driver week. So be very aware of your speed so that you don't give them a reason to initiate that traffic stop and then initiate a inspection on you, your paperwork, and your vehicle.
All right. Hey, by the way, you know what I just noticed, Ty? Ty has a wrench on his name now. Pretty neat. That is pretty neat. Let's see here. Fleet owner sentenced for falsifying Oh, look, it's the FCMSA now. Reporter
Somebody had a typo there.
For typo. Michael Chavez, owner of Rhode Island-based Cat Transportation. Boy, he's up in the numbers.
Yeah, I'm vaguely familiar with this story. What I believe is the owner of the company was editing driver's logs and flat out recreating logs when he shouldn't have, as well as some other paperwork to give his drivers extra hours to drive. And then one of his trucks was involved in a fatal crash, and he went in and edited log records to try to make it look like his driver was in compliance. The late driver, trying to make it look like he was in compliance. So yeah, this man's looking at some serious penalties. It looks like, 2.5 years in prison, 3 years of supervised release, and a $1,000 fine. I think that's pretty light. Now, of course, he's going to also have to do restitution and stuff. So all said and done, this cost him a couple of years of his life and more than $500,000. It's not worth it, folks.
Speaking of, boy, we could have a new segment called "It's Not Worth It." Brian, tell us a story. You got an ELD punch story, don't you?
Sit right back and I'll tell you a tale of a faithful trip. No, we're not going to Gilligan's Island. I have a client who is new in the business, and he was having an issue with understanding ELD and personal conveyance with his hotshot truck. He had got himself in the habit of unplugging his ELD when he was home so he could run his truck around for a week or two while he's home and use it like his personal pickup truck. Well, I understand the concept, and you're home, you think that nothing's wrong. Once you start using that truck for your motor carrier, that truck is a motor carrier vehicle for the rest of its life until you take it out of that fleet. So you can't just unplug your ELD because you decided to drive your kids to Disneyland, or you want to go to the Home Depot on Saturday and pick up some lumber. That's what personal conveyance is for on your logbook. And you have to do it in compliance with the personal conveyance guidance. Further, guys, you're not fooling anybody out there when you log out of your logbook in the middle of nowhere, Utah, and log back in Nevada 7 hours later. They don't believe that it was a glitch. They realized that you were driving out of hours or unplugged. When Federal Motor Carrier does their audit, or even at roadside, this is why they want you to upload your log records. They get all the information, not just what comes out on the paper printout. So they will see every one of these unassigned driving events, every one of these disconnect and reconnects, power on, power off. They will see all of that, even your edits you make when you're trying to cover it up. It's just not worth it. You're looking at penalties anywhere that they can be as little as a couple $100 up to $13,000 and change per violation. Well, a violation is each individual disconnect each day. They can levy up to $13,000 worth of penalties per 24-hour period if FMCSA so chooses to do. So keep that in mind when you think you figured out your way around the system. You've installed that toggle switch that turns off the power to your OBD2 or your J-bus port under the dashboard. They've seen it. They've done it. That's why they compare engine hours to odometer reading to GPS location. It's multiple levels of fail-safe. and the software in their computer in the patrol car or in their office does it in real time and will pick up on every one of these anomalies. So you better be prepared to explain them.
It is, it's something else when you think about the training and time, and there must be seminars. What are we doing next week? Oh, catching guys that unplug ELDs, and it's a 6-hour seminar, and everyone's got their calculators and their folders and their manuals and their gavels and and they're ready to go. And I've seen I've actually seen some of the videos, right, where you go inside. I don't know if it's inside the scale, but they are ready.
They can do it in the scale. They can do it in the patrol car. They can do it remotely. When you upload your ELD record to that email address they give you, it goes to FMCSA as well as that particular law enforcement partner. FMCSA can decide to randomly audit that data. Even if the officer on the side of the road didn't find something wrong, somebody else might during just part of a random audit, just like a tax audit. They randomly look at data and see. That said, there is training. CVSA trains officers on this routinely. The training information is available online. If you look around, you can find the PowerPoint that shows how they're trained, so you can have an idea of just how much they understand about these systems. And yes, there's hundreds of them on the market, but they all have the same data set. That's by law. So it's easy when they upload it to their computer to find these problems. My whole point of this is it's no longer your personal vehicle, even if it is your personal vehicle once you start using it for business use. You do have a right to use it for personal conveyance, but you have to do it within compliance with the regulations and be able to document and prove everything that it has no business purpose to what you're doing. Remember, you can't take your truck to the oil change place or the tire shop when you're logged off duty on your 34-hour restart at home and be legal with your hours of service, because that's a business purpose. You can't take your truck to the truck wash when you're off duty and be legal. I'm not saying I agree with this, but these are the way the rules are written now.
I was just going to say, think of us, let's go to camera one, think of us as Switzerland. All right, we're just providing the information. Everybody's welcome. Officers are welcome to chime in. Ty likes to say we got lurkers now. There could be somebody at the FMCSA, and you know what? That's awesome. Please do tune in, because we're trying to help, and so we're not picking a side. Although we got in the live chat, so the key is unplug your speed sensor as well. No, come on now.
I can't answer that, just like I can't answer delete questions.
Exactly. Okay. All right. I think we're getting through the stuff. This is great. Another AB5 setback. How we doing?
This is very troubling. AB5 was upheld to apply to the trucking industry. AB5, for those of you that have just joined, is the independent contractor test for the state of California that is detrimental to most freelancers, but especially to owner-operators and lease operators. I'm not talking lease purchase. I'm talking the guy that owns his own truck and leases it on to use another motor carrier's DOT number. In the state of California, in most cases, that is no longer lawful. California Trucking Association had taken this to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is a federal court, to have it declared preempted by federal law. A 3-judge panel said no. They petitioned the entire 9-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to hear the case, rehear the case. They denied. So the only option left, and it's very expensive and it's also not guaranteed, the only option left is to take this to the U.S. Supreme Court and see if they will hear it and overturn the appeal court ruling and reissue the lower court ruling that said, no, it does not apply. But what even more troubling, when they denied this, they also dismissed the stay. A stay is a legal term for putting it on hold so that the law could not be enforced until it was decided in court, because they're the highest court besides the Supreme Court for that area. And so they said, well, we decided it applies to trucking. We're also going to dismiss the stay in 30 days, which means they can't even continue as business as usual until the Supreme Court decides to hear it or not, or does in fact hear it. So the independent contractor model in California, Connecticut's almost as bad, pretty much is done unless something changes in state law out there.
I would like to know where in the law you can argue that to the Supreme Court that isn't this. I don't know if entrepreneurial freedom is in the Constitution, but it seems anti-American on its face, and I don't want to get into the craziness of that kind of talk, but I thought we had a freedom to entrepreneurism and being an independent contractor. Now, those are all assumptions. I'm speculating live, but I don't understand why we have to work for other companies. I don't know why we're forced in this manner. I don't really get it.
I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Jay. And you and I have a good background as freelancers. That's what we've done most of our life.
Yes.
And this is an attack on the gig economy, which is the modern way of saying freelancer. I wholeheartedly believe we have an inalienable right to be an independent business person in this country. Yeah. This is opinion. I am up on my soapbox. This is my op-ed piece for the New York Times. But America was founded on the principle of independence. And
yes,
I can understand where a couple of truck drivers have been mistreated by some companies that have put them in lease purchase programs that are not really lease purchase programs as a way to skirt employment rules, taxes, workers' comp, and liability for their safety and well-being of their employee. However, the vast majority of people that are operating as owner-operators, especially true owner-operators where they own the truck or even lease the truck through a bank or whatever. I'm not talking a lease purchase. They want to be there. They're happy to be there. Just like your guys that work on the movie set, just like your independent anesthesiologist that works at the doctor's office, on the reporters. I write for several magazines. That is one of the classifications that they gave an exemption to in this California AB5 bill, as they did medical field and movie workers and a bunch of others, because they knew it would destroy those industries. It's a thinly veiled attack on the trucking industry and other industries where labor could be unionized.
That's the thing. So many industries. See, philosophically, to me, the Second Amendment philosophically is the same thing as the freedom to do whatever you want for work.
Yes.
Philosophically.
Are we not guaranteed the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness?
Right. There
it doesn't say we're guaranteed it. The pursuit of it. And I pursue it by engaging in a vocation that also happens to be my avocation or my passion. And I don't want to have to pay a share of my earnings to a corporate. I don't want to work for Mom Corp just because they say I have to.
That's it.
I'm fine paying my share of taxes and paying in.
That has to be unconstitutional to some degree, to force me to work for a company when neither the company nor I want that.
Exactly. And unfortunately, the language in this California AB5 bill is almost identical to language in a bill that's been floating around in this session of the U.S. Congress, to work with Department of Labor to it's billed as it's the PRO Act, Protecting Your Right to Organize Act. It's billed as a pro-union act, and I'm not getting for or against unions here. There are some industries where they are very effective and necessary. But the concern is if the PRO Act passes and this AB5 language becomes how they determine whether you have the right for union representation, it's a very logical, simple half step that the Department of Labor will then start using this as the federal de facto independent contractor test and then it could wipe out the owner-operator model on a federal level as well. And so that's where we have to be concerned with this.
What a great show. We're going to end it there. I do want to say VDT had a comment, but I think that Ty got it answered. The question was, is Arizona...
You just went to mute, Jay.
Check.
On the Zoom meeting.
No. I've got audio, but it might be one of those other buttons. I don't know, man. I'm here. Is Arizona anal about trailer length in Missouri? Yeah, I don't know.
Oh well, wrap it up. We'll call it a show.
So we're gonna wrap it up. So Brian,
I'll listen.
We can hear you, Brian. Yeah. Oh, we're back.
Yeah, you're back. I can hear you now.
We're back. All right, cool.
It came across my screen that the host muted the meeting, so you must have bumped the button.
I don't know. Maybe. I've been known to bump a button here and there. Okay.
So what? Did you have anything in the comment that I missed that I needed to know?
Well, I'll read it out loud. So VDT had asked, is Arizona anal about trailer length like Missouri? And by the way, I think that's probably the right way to ask it.
Yes. Arizona is very particular about DOT compliance in general. Now, with Arizona, you are very unlikely to get enforcement outside of the major cities or the ports of entry, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But yes, Arizona, and they look specifically for hot shots because a lot of hot shots, especially the non-CDL guys, don't have an apportioned registration. Arizona is one of the few states where apportioned registration applies below 26,000 pounds, and you need a permit to travel through their state if you have a regular truck plate on your truck, not an apportioned plate. Same with Nevada. They have a special permit for under 26,000 pound trucks that are entering, exiting, or traveling through the state of Nevada that they need. And there's another one, I want to say Wyoming, I believe, has it. Might be in Montana. So that's why you notice all the U-Hauls have Arizona license plates on them, but they all say apportioned, even though they're little 14,000 pound trucks. So yes, Arizona, have your I's dotted and your T's crossed.
All right. I'm just sharing the podcast link and a couple other links. And okay, man, that was awesome. I'm really glad we got to that because I don't think that answer was exactly what we expected. And that's what we love. Brian, thank you so much. Every Wednesday, just laying down. That was 30 minutes of solid knowledge. That was amazing.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you. I so appreciate it. It's great to be back. We're still on schedule. I've got another in July, like the third week. I'm going to be out of town, so we'll miss another show, but otherwise we're pretty much back.
All right. Sounds good.
And as far as events, anything else? Is there anything final? Any last minute? What about 4th of July? Right? Anything going on?
I'm taking a day or two and spending some time with the family. There's no DOT events going on.
Okay.
And then I'll be back the first week of August. Will be my next major live event where I'll be in San Antonio, Texas at the American Towman Tow Expo.
When are you doing that?
That is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the first week of August.
Okay, because I think, all right, that's not a direct overlap. I think Ty might be in San Antonio mid-August.
Okay.
We'll see.
We might just miss each other, but for anyone who wants to come on out, admission to the show is free, but to come into the seminars, you need a seminar conference passport. But I'll be happy to visit with anybody if they want to come down. And it's a towing industry focused show, but it's at the convention center in San Antonio, something Gonzalez Convention Center. And I want to say it's August 5th through 7th. It's the end of the first week of August. And I'll be there live in person.
All right. Hey, final stumper. Last question. In your opinion, what's the best gooseneck adapter to install the plate or B&W?
I don't have an opinion on the best part for that. I really don't. There's they're really all just about the same. So I don't have an opinion for you. Just make sure that it's rated properly for what you want to do with it, and it doesn't look like a 2-year-old stuck it together with a set of jumper cables. I wish I could help you better on that. That sounds like a good
T-shirt. No, you're good. So, and I put the email your DOT question to onair@YourDOTGuy.com. If you need to talk to Brian, fleetcompliancesolutions.net. And otherwise, tune in every Wednesday for DOT Compliance. And then we say thank you, Brian. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe. Talk to you next week.
And we'll see you soon. Peace out, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you. Oh, do us a favor. Join us tomorrow. Tomorrow at noon, we have a special event, NVTA. 1 hour live. NVTA talks business insurance here on Auto Transport Intel. So tune in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much.